点心侠
Hi, I'm Yan Yan. I'm a former professor of education for many years and a maker of films and comics. And I'm also mummy to a bilingual child. Parents and teachers all want their children to learn a second or foreign language because it's really useful as the world gets more and more globalized. The problem is, many of the kids are actually too shy to speak, or they don't want to pick up a book in their second language, or they are afraid of making mistakes or being judged. I've seen this happen in many different countries and people are genuinely concerned about it. Whether it's learning English in China or Vietnam or even learning Chinese in Singapore, where I'm originally from. Researchers have a name for this: foreign language anxiety. On the Dim Sum Warriors Facebook page, we asked parents in Singapore to describe the feelings their kids associate with learning Chinese. And here are just a few. 闲 frustration, 恐惧 despair, pain, 痛苦 Wow, really? We also asked parents what methods they use to help their kids with their Chinese, and we got after-school tutoring, enrichment classes, trips to China, films and songs. And when desperate, bribe the kids or do their homework for them. Parents often tell us they've tried everything, and it's still a battle to help their kids enjoy the language and become more proficient. Is this because kids are not hardworking or disciplined enough? While we often feel like kids should be disciplined and should persevere through mistakes, we often forget we can all be very disciplined, but only if it's about learning something we are interested in. If you look at teens trying to learn K-pop dances or kids playing Minecraft, you will see that they are very disciplined and focused. It has to be something that sparks their interest. It's not that our kids aren't disciplined or hardworking enough. Professor John Dewey, the father of progressive education, said in his 1938 book, Experience in Education, that the key to discipline is actually getting kids to have enough interest at the start of their journeys so that they'll put in the hard work to complete the journey. But without that initial sparking of interest, it will always be the parents pushing the kids up the hill without much cooperation from the kids. And there will be resistance. What this means is that the first impression of a language is really important. It has to spark interest. If children's first Chinese language book is a textbook and continues to be textbooks, kids will associate the learning of Chinese simply as schoolwork. To spark interest, focus on activities that are fun, low pressure, and unstructured. For example, go and play with a kid who speaks mainly the target language. Watch a movie with the family. Read comic books in the target language aloud with the children at bedtime. So kids associated the language with relaxation, fun, intimacy, rather than exams. The key is to create opportunities that are low stress, low stakes, but high interest. Spark enough interest and enough positive feelings, and kids will put in the hard work within a more structured environment. Introduce these play opportunities regularly to provide the motivation for putting in the hard work. Is the curriculum too difficult? No, not really. It is often not that the text is too difficult. The problem is that it is not relevant. Professor Gloria Latson-Billings talks about how, if books and materials are relevant to students' lives, they will pick it up with enthusiasm. It is called culturally relevant curriculum. Get your kids to the library or bookstore and let them pick their own books. Take them to the comic section, leave them there. Find a film or TV series about a topic that your child is interested in, watch it together and discuss. What do I do if my kids feel completely lost in the language? Researchers in the field of translanguaging, Professors Ophelia Garcia and Danling Fu, have found some great ideas to help kids feeling lost in the new language. You know how we feel completely lost when we're in a new place? If there are no landmarks or buildings that we can recognize? Scholars in translanguaging tell us that it's the same with the new language. What we need is to create a map with landmarks for kids and a sense of direction. Some translanguaging suggestions are 1. Using bilingual texts, where the learner gets a map of stories in home language first and then tackles the target language. Stories are much better at providing a map than a simple list of vocabulary, because it allows kids to remember the words within a narrative context with a beginning, a middle, and an end. 2. Getting kids to express their ideas in their strongest language, and then work on translating into the target language. 3. Getting kids to create new and fun texts, such as making comics, for example, or create the experiences for kids to have a purpose for their language learning and to make the language their own. It's the same as driving a car. If we rely solely on a GPS or a teacher to tell us when to turn left or right or which vocabulary to learn, we never quite know which direction we're going in, and we feel completely lost if the GPS is not working. But if we study a map, we are clearer about our direction and can even plan alternative routes and be more creative about the path that we are taking. Finally, the most important is to focus on the broader goals of confidence and creativity rather than narrowly on whether the child has high scores in a test. Because even if our child scores high points in a test, but is always fearful, not confident, and hasn't learned to be creative, it means that his or her knowledge is fixed, will not grow, and he or she will be ill-prepared for a fast-changing future. On the other hand, if our child is not proficient in a language today, but has built up confidence and creativity, our child will pick up a language when she needs to and can handle any new and challenging circumstances.